Alright, so this is 3-inch PVC that I put a cap on the end down there, and I drilled a hole and threaded this piece in, which goes to my vacuum pump there, and I can create a vacuum. But now, you can't see any now, but there are 2 axe handles in there, and that is boiled linseed oil. And they've been in here probably 2 days. And I did give it like a half hour of vacuum, and they were floating. Those axe handles were floating when I first put them in there. So let's get one out, see what it looks like. Alright, so we got this handle here, and it's a nice curved handle, 36-inch. It's got really nice grain. Not sure how much light you guys can see. Got good grain. And then we have the straight one for a double bit axe. But the problem with it is that for the double bit axe that I want to put on here, the handle is just far too narrow. If you can see that, it's like it needs to be another inch and a half wide. So I might put this handle, because it's small enough, I could make it fit a single bit axe like that one. That one would fit there. That's another Plumb. And then I have this one here, which is a really nice splitting axe. That would go there. So that one might go on that. And I was going to put this one on the curved handle, but I found, instead of doing that, let me hang this one back up, I have this, no, not that one, this one. This is a Plumb Victory, and that handle fits that really nicely. I still have to trim it down a little bit, but I think that's the route we're going to go with that one. So I got to do a little shaving on this. I don't know if you guys are looking the same place I am, but nice and tight. So we'll take a little off, try it. You can't put wood back, obviously. This is just an old, well, it's a newer than old, but this is a horse hoof rasp. farrier's rasp, I guess you call it. Let's try that. Got about 3/4 of an inch to go, but I might be able to tap that in that far. But once you start doing that, it gets harder and harder to get out, and I don't want to damage the head, and I don't have a special bit yet for pounding them back out, so I just haven't made one. Little there. Little there. Might be close enough to, once it's set, then the grooves should all fill. So I guess we're gonna just put some weight on it. She's within 1/2 an inch. Get rid of the staple. Don't need to be in there anymore. And now if you hit this here, it actually drives it down into the head. So you see how far out that is right now. Like, yeah, there you go. Hear that change sound? It was cracking, and it goes to a thud. Right? See how that's sticking through there proud now? And we have a little bit of shavings coming off here. Little in the back, little in the front. She's pretty straight. Handle's pretty straight down through. Feels pretty good. So we're going to take a razor blade. Let's get rid of the rasp. Take a knife, a razor knife, okay, and move stuff around a little. Okay, just have a razor knife. I'm just going to cut in a little on there. Get that off. And now I've been soaking these things, like I said, this handle for like 2 days. So the wood is a little softer than had it been just dry, because basically it's oil impregnated. So that actually, these are cutting way nicer and easier than normal. Normally they're pretty hard. So this may be a good trick. I just tried this soaking thing, so that may be something I do every time now, because boy, that sure made this thing going together so much easier. Okay, so there's that, and there's that. Now I'm going to set this, once I set this head, there's still, I normally shaped the handle before I put it in the axe, but because this was a new experiment, if you see, this is as wide as the axe, the handle is as wide as the axe, and so I want this to be here. I want it to be as thin as it is here, and so it's just this section here that would have to be taken out, so that when you split into a piece of wood, less chance of the wood hitting there. And the strength is this way, so you can take a little off that way. And the handle could use a little slimming. This is kind of sharp on the back, so when I take some of this down with the spoke shave, that'll work. So now let's get our hardwood wedge, and see if we can get her stuck in there. Pretty sure I have one right here. What happens when you get multiple projects going on everywhere. There we go. There's one there. Okay. There's that. Now I'm going to take, this is 240 I believe, and I'll just sand that. I'm going across the grain right now just to knock these lines down. Probably should change pieces of paper. This one's a little rougher. I think it was either 80 or 120. 80. And get those lines knocked down. I'm just doing this so that it glides in a little smoother. Okay. We'll get rid of that one. Back to the 240. I just want to get as much wedge driven into the head as I can. Alright, so that's good there. And I've been using this Gorilla wood glue instead of Elmer's. It seems to work well. It's been separating, so I shake it up. Alright. And it's nice to be able to have a wedge that is full width. Let's see if we can get this out on here. There we go. Now when I put the glue on here, I try and just do it, I leave the top like 1/4 inch dry so I can touch it, number one. Two, chances of driving this thing all the way in are pretty slim. So I'll take some of this, because it's so tight, the head is so tight already. If it was loose, then I might be able to drive it all the way home, but I don't think it's going to. And the glue is going to move up this anyway. You really want to use hardwood if you can on these. Kind of defeats the purpose to use a softwood because it won't go in. And you can use a hammer, you can use whatever, but I'm gonna use the axe so that I have that little axe that I have been using lately. Yeah, that looks like it's gonna work. Alright, get this set here so we have something to hit against. I'm not holding this in, I'm not holding that in the vise. I just have the it's setting in the vise. So you could use this, right? See now there, shoe slightly forward. When this groove was cut, it wasn't cut perfect, like in the center. Come on. There we go. So you could just keep going back and forth like that, or you could put a piece of wood on it and hit it. You could use, you know, whatever. But this, like this, I'm hitting the whole thing, so I have a better chance of driving it instead of breaking it and cracking it. And it will eventually break. Okay, so you can see that the piece is actually bulged out here and here, right? Yeah, so that's got a pretty good bulge to it. So get rid of the extra glue. And that I'm going to let set overnight. It's really tight. There's a little tiny hole there that I could when this thing is dry, what I'll probably do is I'll pour a little bit of glue in there and use a toothpick and get it to go down in there so that it fills it. I mean, that is so tight that it's never going to move anyway, but it makes it look nice and finished. This one here is tight pretty much all the way around, and you can kind of see here that it wasn't dead cent in the middle, this cut that they made. So I'm gonna let that set now. Pretty much you could take the hacksaw and you cut this wedge off. You could cut it off anywhere from flush to down just about even with the top. You know, flush with the handle, you could leave that sticking up proud, or you could cut it down just about down to the steel, or sand it down that far. I like to let them stick up just a little bit. I like the way that it looks. So there you have it. That's a Plumb Victory, which is all rehandled, cleaned up, and pretty much tomorrow she'll be, well, in theory, ready to split wood, but it won't split any wood. I want to clean the handle up a little bit, thin this out here, and a little bit down here. So